Hey guys, we are back. Welcome to Rankable episode 37. I'm your host as usual, Jared Thomas, Senior Account Executive at iPullRank. And today, man, we have a special episode for you guys. And our topic today is how to grow your e-commerce business, right? And before we begin, there's been a lot of things going on in the world. And I do want to say rest in peace to the brother, Deontay Wright, brother. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff going on. Black Lives Matter, all lives, you know what I mean? Everybody's love, man. You know what I mean? So the people, shout out to their family first and foremost. My condolences and prayers to you guys. Like this episode is for you guys, and just hopefully there's peace in the world and everything comes out of this. But on a lighter note, man, we have a brother right here, a very, very special guest, man. So I've been waiting for this conversation for a long time. He's been worked at places like Kimberly-Clark, IBM, and now he is the CEO of Ave Market, which is the largest Black-owned retailer in the beauty and hair space in the U.S. So I want to introduce our special guest today, Mr. Salim Holder, man. How are you, brother?
I'm excellent. What's the word, man? I'm happy to be here today.
Man, we're happy to have you, brother. We really appreciate you, man. So I'm excited, man. I've gotten DMs, text calls, man, like, yo, can you help me with my e-commerce business? And who better than ask than yourself? But before we get into the execution and all that stuff and the actionable insights, like, just tell me a little bit more about your story, man. So you got a lot of experience and what eventually led to the Ave Market creation.
Yeah, man, it's been interesting and I say exciting journey. I'll tell you I graduated with a bachelor's in marketing at Hampton University. I worked for a couple of years and at Target specifically, it was logistics. I'm in the store and, for like 2 years managing logistics. I realized I was like, one day I knew I wanted to run my own business. And so I figured I was like, well, I need to go back and learn how to do it. And so I had experience with sales and other things, but I decided to go back, get my MBA, got my MBA from University of Rochester. And when I graduated there, that's when I started working with Kimberly-Clark, and I started working there. I worked there for 5 years, and honestly, for the last 10 years, it's been working with companies like Kimberly-Clark, managing brands like Kotex, managed brands like Cottonelle or Jameson Irish Whiskey. I managed denture brands, grooming brands, and honestly, over 10 years, man, I'm growing these businesses by millions of dollars, growing profit by double digits, and I just got to a point where I'm like, yo, if I could do it for them, I'd probably do it for me. And I think the bigger part of that was just understanding that as much as I could do it for them, I could do it for me. The other part was I didn't see how the things I was doing on a daily basis was having an impact on the communities I'm from or the communities I was a part of. Exactly. It was all great helping more people get, kids medicine and deodorant or tissues, et cetera. It's all necessary stuff. But at the same time, I was like, yo, I felt like there was more that I could do to contribute to my community. And so with that and the confidence of being able to have, some strong results over those decades, I decided I was like, yo, I'm stepping out on faith. And January 2018, I just stepped out on faith. I was like, I don't know where I'm going to go, but I'm charting a new path. I know it's not here. And in doing so, I came across the opportunity where I teach digital marketing with General Assembly. And then I had spoken to the sales broker who I'd known for years. I mean, I'd worked for a few years. Her job was get products on the shelves of Walmart's, Target's, et cetera. And so I went to her with this product idea, right? And I was like, yo, listen, I think that I got this idea. What do you think? Can I get it on the shelf? And I forgot she had told me a year before that she had started a business. It was called JuicyDo.com. It was ethnic hair care, multicultural products. I didn't really like the name of it, but it wasn't about the name. What it was more about, what I saw and recognized pretty quickly, I was like, yo, she's got this connections to distributors, manufacturers, and these relationships that she's built with all these businesses and brands. And when she was like, yo, I just really want to sell, I just want to retire, I was like, yo. So I called my best friend who's in 15 years, software engineer, worked in Silicon Valley, GitHub, et cetera. And I was like, yo, we could put our heads together with your experience in e-commerce and tech and my experience with marketing. We could put our heads together and create something. And at first it started with just make a little cash. But then we realized the opportunity was much greater in creating a platform that can actually contribute back to the growth of a certain community, a community that has been deprioritized in so many other places.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what brought us to this opportunity with Fourth Ave.
Man, that's an amazing story, brother. But like one thing that I caught out of that is the fact that you were building the brands, right? You understood what the market share was, right? Especially for our community, right? When you think of these big brands, we think of a Colgate, when you think of any brand that we use in the community, right? What we need to be asking ourselves is, what are we getting back?
That's exactly
What
what
are we
we
getting
ask
back?
ourselves. Yes.
Like
I was asking that same question. It's like, what are we getting back? Because I think specific in the hair care category, you talking about Black consumers, we generate $2 billion in sales. That's just our portion of the hair care category. And what we sell. The unfortunate part is that's 85% of sales of ethnic and multicultural hair care products, but we only own 7% of the stores. Which wouldn't be a problem if we didn't walk into stores and had a little 4-foot section called the ethnic set that only had products that were owned by a couple major companies, or we didn't have to choose between going to stores that don't want us in there as they follow us around the stores, the ones in our community.
Exactly.
Right. It wouldn't matter who owned it if we didn't have that to choose between places that had what we want and places that don't want us in there, or places, that don't have what we want and those that don't want us in there. So I was like, we can create our own table over here with this whole 4th Ave Market movement and create something that contributes back to our community. So it is investing back in.
That's it, man. And I'm curious, so it was 2018, right? Why do the e-commerce instead of a regular right? Why not do a brick and mortar, you know what I mean, store?
Yeah.
So I'm just curious what's up with that. Like, was it just like a cost factor, or you just like, I could reach more digitally?
Oh man, it was the reach. Because the way I saw it, it was like, we can always go towards a brick and mortar store, but the challenge across the country is people are struggling to find products, and 65% of these consumers are going online and say, where do I buy? So I said, well, I can, number one, I can get access and connected to all these people across the country, especially the ones that don't live in urban areas where there's a wider range of the products available to them, right? So I was like, I can reach them that way. But then number two, I was like, without having to worry about the inventory, I can actually bring on a lot more products. I got an unlimited shelf space. There's not just a dedicated area in my however big square foot store. I got an unlimited shelf space. I can carry as many SKUs as we want to carry and just work on making it easy for the consumer to find it. So that's why I was like, we're going to start off digital. And, who knows, in the future, maybe there's an element of it that brings brick and mortar into it. But we said the e-commerce was absolutely the way to start.
Yeah, I would even say, I don't even think you need brick and mortar. I think you're more experiential marketing than anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I would go, good point. I would go to every region and just be like, hey, look, we're gonna do a pop-up shop. We're gonna do a barbecue. We got the 4th Ave barbecue. Come through, get your ribs, get the chicken. We got the products. We got ladies getting their hair done on this side. We got the bouncy slides for the kids. Things like that, man, that means something. It goes back to your main point of like, how do we give back to the community? How do we reinvest back into the community, right? And so you had your partner and she had the tech experience. You have your digital market experience of the fact that you've grown brands. So what was the first step from there? Like, so you guys said, we're going to do this. What did the business plan look like from that point?
Yeah, so there was 2 elements of it.
Okay.
For me, the important part was, I recognize the importance of building a brand, right? You could have a store and just be like, we're going to have a store. But I was like, no, we got to figure out, let's take a step back, understand what the gaps are in the market. What are the points of tension that consumers are feeling? How can we resolve those? And how can we set ourselves up as a brand that people look to as the answer for those challenges? So it took us that time. Like, we could have just turned the store back on. Like, we bought the store. So we just, we could have just turned it on and went. And that was actually the second part was there was some cleanup we had to do. We had to clean up the store. We had to like make it operate right, optimize it, and then even just make sure it looked right. So there was like the branding part of it. Like, what is our brand? What's our story? What are we about? Who are we talking to? There was just the technical cleanup elements of the site, making sure the prices are right, etc. The brand name is right. And then we start to figure out, okay, how then do we market and bring people in? But the first part was like, that initial setup, it took a little bit of work.
Get our logo, what's our brand story? What's our mission statement? What's all of those good things, right? And then as you lead, I just think that the hardest part, for e-commerce brand is acquiring that net new customer, right? Which goes back to your marketing point, right? Like, how do we acquire? If I'm 4th Ave Market, right? People don't know me in the space. How do I connect with my customer and essentially from my community, right? And it can't be just as far as our messaging, it has to be on point. If it's not on point, we're gonna tell you. We're gonna tell you.
Bro. We one crew. We will not hesitate, man. And I got to, man, there's so many comments on Facebook and videos of like, someone's like, oh, go ahead, brother. Others is like, wait a minute, is this really Black owned? Let me see your social security number, your birth certificate. They're like, let me validate this.
Oh man, that's one thing, man. We give each other a hard time, man. We gotta chill with that, man. And like in terms of like, so what was the idea of like as far as the brand, right? So You want to create the brand, you want to acquire net new customers, right? Where you're going to say, hey, like, I'm going to be the face of the brand. I'm going to be the influencer. I'm going to tell my story and then get customers in. And then I'm going to have the products that they want, essentially. So I just need to get you in.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I realized that here's one thing I saw in my experience. I can get people to a website, right? Yeah. I know I can get you to the website, but then it's almost like a promoter. It's like, I can get you to the party. Yeah. If you have a good time, and I don't know, that's on the DJ, that's on the event, the venue, right? There's a lot of parts. So thinking about the same with an e-commerce site, it's like, yo, marketing can get people to the site, but you talking about customers. You talking about, I want sales, I want customers. So then what I had to also realize is we started off with, what's the message that we want to put out there? So we put some ads out and said, does this message resonate? Does it get people to the site? And they were like, absolutely. We love the message. We got them to the site. But then the question was, when they get there, what are they doing? This is the part. Yeah, what's the experience? What are they doing? And this is the part where I feel like a lot of e-commerce companies are not doing the detailed analytics to see that conversion, right? Yeah. That conversion optimization. When they get to the site, when they look at a product, when they add it to the cart, when they go through the checkout, and looking at where the drop off is and what is the points of friction along that journey that they can relieve. Exactly. Right. And so that's what we did. We had people come to the site, but then nobody was buying. So we had to then optimize the site, make categories update, change the search bar, make it easier for this to load fast. The image is here. And next thing we knew, we start to see people buying and then sales going up and conversion rate going up. So that's really the hard work that I think a lot of people, just because they don't buy right away, don't mean you got a bad idea. And it also doesn't mean you need to put more ads out. Yes. Right. It means sometimes you got to look at, well, what's happening when they get there? Because if you pour more water into a leaky bucket, there's not going to have more water at the end. You know what I'm saying? It's going to have more of a mess on the floor. So you got to fix the holes in the bucket and then pour the ads on and then put the investment in. You get a return for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those listening who may not be in tune, what Salim is talking about is gold right now, right? So essentially, right, what he's saying, getting somebody to your website is easy. Anybody can go to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, pay for an ad, right? The main thing is think about your attention span, right? Think about when you go to a website and it's not the content that you want. If it's not the product that you want, what are you going to do? You are going to leave, right? So that's the main thing you should be thinking about as an e-commerce owner, or, you know, whether you own the website, whatever the case may be. What does my experience look like? What do I want my customers to experience once they land here, right? Because you can have the ad, and if it's a bad landing page and I don't know what the hell you're doing, it means nothing. And you're just wasting money. It's wasteful spending, right? So guys, think about that. The analytics that he's talking about, you want to look at things like bounce rate, your time on site. You want to understand what that customer journey is, right? How many pages are they going to and what pages they drop off so I can change that experience. Right. So those are the things you have to look at, and analytics is key. What analytics were you using? You're using like GA and
man, we started with just basic Google Analytics, you know, and then we start to do some other things when we were actually like looking at the journey, and we start using like Hotjar to be able to look at the journey through the site, you know, and we start to get more detail. But Google Analytics goes real far, you know, and it's free. So you don't even have to spend much and invest much. Like, that can give you so much visibility into how you can just make specific improvements. So we start there, you know, for sure.
Yeah. And then SEO is a huge thing too, right? When you think about e-commerce, right? So strengthen, like, one thing you want to do is not go heavy on paid initially, right? Because the thing is, what if Facebook drops off tomorrow? What if something happens with the ad program and your business is relying on that channel? Your business goes flat, right? But if you have a strong organic presence, and really what that means is just if somebody types in, you know, the best wig or the best hair care, or I want something for the edges, or whatever the case may be, right? What is showing up? And you need content to address that. And what I mean by addressing it is everybody in that funnel, right? There's gonna be people who's like, I don't know how to use edges. How should I get this girl? And da-da-da. It's gonna be some people's like, I've been trying 4 different conditioners. I can't find the right one for me. Right. So what kind of content do I have to deliver to say, hey, we have what you want? And if you solve that issue, you increase your conversion rates tenfold.
Huge. Yeah. I mean, you made a really good point too, and just thinking about, you know, the power of organic search. And that's actually something in SEO. That's actually something that we invested in right away. Right. So even like soon as the site launched, we were like, yo, just get on the SEO. I know it's going to take time. Just let them do their thing over here on the side. Don't touch that budget. Just chill. Let it go. Don't worry about the return right now. It'll return significantly later. And so now, a year and a half, almost 2 years from now, we're starting to look at it and it's starting to see this, not starting, but we're seeing this organic, like the search is coming in, direct search is happening. So our cost of acquisition is going down significantly, right? But that's something that people don't have a lot of patience for. You know what I mean? Like we want to get sales and traffic right away. SEO, if I start changing titles and tags and adding some content, I can't tell you if I change it today, you're going to get a spike in traffic tomorrow, right? Exactly. It's not how it works. But the idea is just what you said is I'm answering people's questions. People got questions that they're answering that we're uniquely positioned to answer. And SEO and content helps us do that. And the more and more people click on it, the more we get found, the more that return comes in. So SEO was always huge for us. We were like, just invest. Even if we didn't have a heavy amount to really go crazy and do all this other stuff, we're going to do the basics, make the tags are right, the titles are right, the image is right, keywords in the right places, some of the basics, right?
That's it.
So you're right about that. It works.
That's the key, man. I can't tell you how many e-commerce people I speak with on a daily basis that'll come to me and be like, look, Jared, I need more sales. But I look at their page, it's just product. As soon as you go on the homepage, it doesn't mean, like, if I don't know you, I have the same thing. If I tell people about personal branding all the time, right? So I'm on LinkedIn every day, right? If I just go up and start pitching people in the DM, they don't know who the hell I am. They're going to say, who is this guy? I don't want to speak to him. And you got to build that relationship. The content is the bridge to the sale.
Yes,
you have to, guys. So if you're just thinking I'm going to show a couple of SKUs, and just because you have the newest edge control, whatever the case may be, unless it's exclusive to you, no one cares. Facts. And even if it is exclusive from you, why should I buy from you?
Yes. And how they're going to find it. And that's the thing, is how they find it, because, a lot of times, I know, especially as a startup, you don't have an infinite budget. Nobody has an infinite budget, you know? And so as a startup, it's like, you got to figure out, how do I start to grow this and create a flywheel? So now I can use money because it's just coming in. Right. Exactly. So that organic content, though, it helps to answer those questions from people who are searching that may not know you, but can find you because you're pulling them in through their own content, what they want to spend their time on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
I'm curious too, like, because I've got a lot of brothers and sisters, that at least in my neighborhood, that's like, look, I want to start an e-commerce business, and they ask me, what's the initial investment look like, right? And you don't have to tell me, just ballpark. What do you think is a good amount that you think I should go into to invest into starting an e-commerce store when you think about site build, products, all that stuff?
So, it could range, right? Because it depends how, like, we got 7,000 SKUs, right? So it's like, it's like, I didn't even really think about it. At first it was like 7,000 SKUs, cool. And then you start going through, it's like a product at a time, right? That takes time. But say you got 5-10 SKUs on it, right? It's more manageable. Realistically, you could create a Shopify site. You don't have to create no crazy robust site. You can create a Shopify site. I want to say they probably got plans $60 a month, maybe even less than that or something like that. Somebody build a site. It could be $500, $1,000 to build a basic site. Nothing that's crazy. Just like a basic site, get you something nice, right? Some content on there, that type of thing. I think the bigger investment comes either in marketing or it's going to come in your inventory. And it really depends if you're able to go the dropship model, or if you're able to work with people where there's trust built and they allow you to sell their product on consignment. So I have some vendors that we work with that we don't have to buy the inventory from. They either work on a consignment or a dropship model. And then we have other vendors where we do pull on some inventory. Now, when it comes down to me pulling that inventory, I've been real tight with it, right? Like I think what you have to understand is, in general, is how many weeks of inventory do you need to have on hand, right? And that means, like, so then you could think about, to figure that out, how much do I sell each day, right? How much do I, and the reality is, if it's a new product, you're probably not going to know how much you're going to sell. So you're going to have to come up with a forecast. And so, like, literally, I would start with new brands. I'm like, give me a half a case. Right? Because if you think about it, I have 7,000 products on the site. Every product's not selling every day. Exactly. Right. And so if you have 5 products, then maybe you can look at, all right, let me get maybe a little more of a half a case, etc. I don't know. But I looked at it as like, for some, let me get a half a case and let me see how it sells. If it sells out in a week, great. Now at least I got an idea on how quickly it's going to sell. So I don't overextend myself with cash, put it towards inventory that's now tied up and sitting there. It's not selling. So
that makes so much sense, man. Especially, I'm not familiar with the dropship model, but I'm assuming, like you said, if I'm a black owned black owner, black owned business that I'm selling edge control or edge care, or whatever the case may be, right? I'm like, look, I just need to be on your marketplace. It's something like Uber Eats or something, right? You take something off, take something off that sale, but you got your product in a new marketplace and it's a new audience.
Yep. Like Dropship is just essentially, you know, me working with a brand, listing the product on the site. They hold the inventory. When a sale gets made, I just send a note to them. Hey, we just sold an item. They ship it out for me, and then I send them a check for what the cost of the item was. Right. Exactly. And so this way I carry zero inventory. Yeah, basically. Right. And so that's exactly what Amazon does. Right. Yeah. So in that case, then I don't have to worry about buying any inventory, you know, but I think there's other challenges because you got to manage. Now they manage the quality, right? So if we don't ship out on time, right? All those things could impact. But I think those are things that you just got to think through. But it's definitely worth it if you don't have to invest this heavily in buying all the inventory up front, especially if you don't know how much it's going to sell. Yeah. I would only buy a little bit up front, but it's harder to find these partners that are willing to drop ship.
I was just about to ask that, right? Like, how do you choose which products get on the site? Like, what is the vetting process?
Yeah, so when we first started, like I said, we bought the site and we bought it because the relationships. That's what we were like, yo, it's going to be incredibly difficult for us to form these relationships with all these different vendors and distributors. So we were like, boom, that's what we're going to do. And then we just took everything we had. We was like, yo, post it on the site. And then now we start to go and refine that and curate that and see where people actually spending time. What are they really looking for? What products aren't selling? And the reality is, it doesn't really cost us anything to have more items on the site, but what it really does in a way, it doesn't cost us any extra dollars out of our pocket, but it may cost us some sales if it makes it harder for people to navigate through the site and find what they want. Exactly. So that's really the trade-off of like, does it become too overwhelming where people can't find anything? Because too many choices, if you like me, too many choices, I'm like, yo, I'm done. I'm out. I'm not doing anything, you know? So that's really what we've been trying to battle with now is like, all right, we got a lot of products. Is it too many products or can we just make the experience better? And that's really our focus now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, man. As far as about the, like what I was going to ask you too, man, like as far as, do you ever get pushback from like users or say, for instance, I just signed up with you. We got a dropship model. I go to your website, right? But you've got 4 different products that are in my category on your homepage. Like, so how do you control, like, how does that work? You know what I mean?
From another.
Yeah. Like, do you ever get like pushback from other employees? Like, hey, I want to be on the homepage. I want this, right? Or anything like that to increase sales. Does that happen frequently?
We do. We have that. And so what we've done as a retailer is this is where I think I've enjoyed the fact that I had to be a brand working with Targets and Walmarts and CVS's and negotiating these things and recognizing how they do it, right? They got a lot of brands that they have, so they can prioritize. And if you want to pay, you can actually get a higher, be in a higher place on the site or get preferred placement, right? So there's ways that there's a pay to play model for that. But I can say back to our mission and what we're really about. And this is now where we can highlight all these independent Black owned brands that have struggled to get on the shelves of Walmart and Target that don't really, they trying to get, they get a couple hundred people to the site a month. We got thousands on thousands that come into our site a month. Now we can put them and give them prime position and like retail space. So we look at it for a little bit on that side where it's like, how do we prioritize these brands that are from the community, that are targeted community? And then how do we make sure that we give opportunities for other brands who really think it's a priority to be able to be inserted there?
Absolutely. And if I'm speaking to like vendors that you may be working with, right? So any small business right now, this is why brand is so crucial. This is why, right? So DeTavio said something that was really cool. He's the CEO of Revolt when he was on here a couple of weeks ago. He said we all our own digital media companies, right?
Yes.
And if you look at people like Kevin Samuels, just for example, right?
Yes.
This dude has 700,000 subscribers, right? He could sell you a pen tomorrow, a t-shirt, a hat, some shoes, some fragrances, and there's so many different ways to get the money, right? But if I'm a small business owner, you have to put yourself out there. We all have a phone. We all have social media access. It's all how you utilize it, right?
Yes. 100%.
Don't be we put a picture up of our cousin and Big Mama and them and all that. But what does that get? You know what I mean? What does that get us in terms of our business, right? Differentiate yourself. If you got the edge control, why are you the best edge control? Why did you start it? What did you do? Right. So when you do come to somebody or a company like 4th Ave, you can say, look what I got, yo.
Yes, and they want to put you on because they're like, yo, you driving traffic here, right? And it's all comes down to value. If you give people things, something they value, they will move, they will take action. So understand what the value is in a retailer. I'm trying to figure out what the value is for brands coming on the site, right? In the same way, I'm trying to make sure they see, there's value here. Like there's people coming, is this. So it's equal exchange of value that's necessary. You got to know what that value is that you offer and the value you're looking for.
Exactly. Audience is leverage, guys. Yes. Audience is leverage. That's the main key. Audience is leverage right there. Think about if you're a rapper, right? If I go to Atlantic right now and I just got 1,000 followers on my social media, as opposed to a little pump who has 1 million followers, right? What kind of, it's going to be a different conversation when I go in that office.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So that's what you got to think about, guys. How do I create leverage for my business so business can be on my term? If I got 1 million followers, if I'm bringing the party, I can say what song goes on. So think about it from that perspective, guys. So like that's the key to branding. That's why, I always stress it. Like even for myself, right? It's important for me to be out there, and it's important for me to have this hat on. And why it's important for me to have this hat on? Because there's somebody out here who looks like me, who's thinking like, "Damn, Jay is doing it, and I could be myself." You know what I mean? And that's the brand I want to be. Do I want to be the guy in the suit and tie and all that? No. When I kept it real and was authentic, that's when things started to happen. When I started just saying, I was working at Starbucks and all this other stuff, and people relate to you. But if I say I'm an SEO expert, who gives a damn?
Yeah, facts.
Be relatable, man. Bring them in. Cast a wide net. Bring them in. Get people who genuinely love you. And once that happens, you get leverage, and you're off to you're to the moon.
Right. Right. Nah, that's so real, man. The authenticity, man. That's really what it's about,
That's it. That's it, brother. I'm curious too, brother. I know we're going up. We're almost at time, man. But what's the best professional advice you ever received, and what advice would you give to other brothers and sisters right now that are thinking about growing their online business?
Yeah, you know what? The best advice that I got was a long time ago. A mentor of mine, he was like, "Listen, you got to realize that your career is not a destination; it's a journey." And by saying that to me, as easy as kind of simple as advice is, a light bulb went off and a lot of pressure just like relieved from my shoulders. Because when I was younger, if you think about it, it's like most of the time people ask this questions like, what do you want to do when you get older? As if you only have one choice. When you get older, you do that. And that's what you do for the next 40, 50, 60 years. Now, previous generations, that's how they lived. Yeah. These generations are like, I'm not trying to live like that. So it gives so much more, like it puts a weight on our shoulders of we're like trying to think, what am I want to do for the next 40 years? That is like, then every decision, you're nervous about every decision. You put a lot of pressure. But it's like, if you think about it in the same way, like digital marketing works versus traditional media marketing, traditional media marketing is like, I got to test this right. I only got one time to do it. We're going to put $1 million into it. Digital marketing is like, put it out there. If you don't like it, take it back. Change it up, right? Like do something different. And in life, it's like, that's really where that advice had changed my perspective. It was like, your life is a journey, not a destination. Just when you get one place, don't mean that's the only place you can go. It means, shoot, if you don't like it, get up and go somewhere else. That's what I did in 2018. I was like, I'm done. I don't want to be here anymore. So I'm going to get up. I'm going to change. I'm going to go to the next spot. But I made sure where I was at, I got everything I could get of value from the spot I was in. And I ain't spend time worrying about, man, I'm sad, I don't want to be here. No, I'm here. Let me take what I can from here. So that's the advice I give. Wherever you are in your life, don't sit there worrying about, I'm mad, I'm here. Take what you can. Take what you can learn from that situation and use that to build into something better. Because that's the only way it works. That's the real. I can't even. If I could drop this mic, I would, bro. But I'm saying real talk. That's as real as it gets, yo. And you think the best advice I've ever received is the most simple advice, right? Like you said, it's just like at the end of the day, man, your career is a journey. It's not the destiny. Don't think about it. If I'd be lying to you right now, bro, to tell you I had a plan of my career. I didn't have any plan, man. Yep. I came straight out of high school, man. I was working 2-3 jobs, Starbucks. I was a waiter. I had my son at 20 years old. I'm like, I can't be doing it. I can't be serving coffee no more. So I'm sitting there applying to 1,000 jobs. And once I got the sales opportunity and got my foot in the door, I said, I'm not letting it slip. They went around the room. It was like, I'm from Harvard. I'm from Buffalo, NYU. I'm Jared from Evander Childs High School in the Bronx. Shout out to y'all. And I'm going to be a top seller. 6 months later, man, that's what it is. Same thing with the podcast, man. This was just something we did. You have to adapt in life, man. Adapt. The pandemic happened. I can't reach buyers. So you know what? I'm going to have the buyers come to me. Facts. You make it happen, yo. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's the best advice, man. And Salim, man, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, man. And we're rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. The company iPullRank, we're rooting for you, brother. Yeah. And I just want to see you win, man. So if there's anything we can do, you got my number, brother. Just let me know, man. And looking forward to all the things. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the front of Forbes, bro.
Yeah, one day, brother. One day.
All right, let's get it.
Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
Definitely, man. Much love. And thank you to all the audience who's watching. Thank you guys for the comments, man. We really appreciate you guys. Next week, if you guys want to learn more about SEO, we've actually got Tammy Woods, who's one of the top female SEO thought leaders in the space, coming here to talk to us and share some insights. So thank you guys for joining, and we'll see you guys next week. It's Salim. Much love, my brother, as always.
My man. Peace.
My man. Have a great one, guys.
You too.